Well, we should. Now, secondary schools countrywide will close for a mid-term break from Friday 9th November to Tuesday next week. This follows a directive from the Ministry of Education that was in response to a request by secondary school principals who were concerned with the recent spate of unrest in the schools. Lois Ongoi looks at how this is being received by some stakeholders.
The chaotic scenes from Buruburu Girls High School on Sunday after a fire broke out in a dormitory and the subsequent closure of the school to give way for investigations may well have been what forced the Ministry of Education to cede ground and grant a request by principals to allow secondary schools a break for midterm. This is just one of the latest cases. In Kirinyaga, security agencies are investigating a suspected arson case that left a dormitory wing at Kiburu Boys High School in Dia constituency in ashes on Monday night. Meanwhile, just this morning, 24 students from Kanjore and Kiarithaine High Schools in Madera were arraigned in Karatina, Nyeri to answer to charges including destruction of an electricity transformer on October 28th. The recent cases of unrest in schools has seen principals urge the Ministry of Education to grant a mid-term break, which has today been granted. Some experts feel the students have come under pressure, having a compressed school calendar comprised of 4 terms rather than the usual 3 to make up for lost time owing to the COVID-19 shutdown period. But some stakeholders feel this mid-term break granted to students will not solve much.
That is a short-term prescription to a problem that is so deep. If they allow these students to go home, they will come back. That problem will have been eased out for shortly. But it will still recur again. It will come back again. The best thing to be done, that issue of going home is not a solution, because if they go home for 2 or 3 days, they will still come back. They still want to go back home again. The pressure within the school will still be there. The academic programs are still there in school. They will not run away from that.
Much as the students have come under pressure to cover lost ground and with extracurricular activities having been suspended also due to COVID-19 protocols, other stakeholders feel the pressure was not just on the learners, who should therefore persevere.
I want to talk to our students and tell them this is a space where we all have to adapt. And we don't have a fine print, but we all have to adapt. Students, we need to adapt faster because it's a pandemic and there's a lot of unknowns. We need to be able to pick our lessons and move instead of waiting and hoping. And even our parents, they're also figuring it out the same as us. They have pay cuts, job losses, relationship strains. So there's a lot more that is happening even for our own parents. So everybody is adapting. So we also need to do the same. Yes.
Learners in the country have no doubt had to contend with the most challenging environment studying through a global pandemic, but it has not been any easier on their parents.
Kids are being rebellious because the discipline has not started from home. We are overprotective of our kids. I think it's called the kababa generation. Mtoto anabaki tu mtoto wako, hata afanye nini, you don't want to pinch them. So anaona if my parent cannot beat me, I can do anything in school, and they still can protect me.
In Uasin Gishu County, about 8 schools have witnessed school unrest this year, with Kipkabos Girls High School and Abrab Secondary Schools witnessing arson attacks. In Bungoma County, Sigelame Boys Secondary School has witnessed 5 arson attacks this year.
And give examples even of the Jangulis, as you have said, and other schools that have gone through the same, where many students have died because of such kind of carelessness on the part of the students and even on the part of the school administration.
One thing is clear, there is clearly no silver bullet in dealing with the school unrests, but perhaps the 4-day midterm rest may do some good in cooling the temperatures that have manifested themselves in the numerous arson attacks. Lois Ongoi, NTV, Eldoret.